My name is Peter. I live in Massachusetts on Cape Cod, and the surgery I was going to have is a complete hip replacement. In my case, I had bursitis that probably shadowed a deeper problem. So as the bursitis got resolved, I noticed that the pain began to drift inward towards where the hip socket is located. So I decided to have that looked at with an X-ray, and the verdict was that I was a good candidate for a hip replacement.
Peter's had quite a bit of hip pain on the right side. Let's take a look at his left hip first. You can see the ball right there. We can see a big shadow right between the socket and then the ball, and that represents the rubber coating called articular cartilage of the hip joint. Now let's take a look at his right side. And over here we can see that the space is remarkably narrowed, and this is consequently causing a lot of pain.
It sort of surprised me in a way. I've always been very active. I love to sail. I had a kayak. I happened to be living on a lake, so I could swim, I could do all sorts of things. I'm a member of the Coast Guard Auxiliary, so I go out on patrols. I was the last person to think that I would need a new hip, but I found myself in so much pain that I decided that I need a change in my life to get back to the lifestyle that I was used to. The reason why I took Dr. Oliver, my wife had 2 knee replacements done by him, turned out very, very well. It has to be done, so I'm looking beyond the event. They say when you have fear of flying, think about the destination. After this whole event, that I will be doing 90% what I could do prior to the operation. So that's my goal, and I'm confident that Dr. Oliver will do a super job on me as well. So I have no fear whatsoever.
So Peter's in the recovery room. The surgery went great. His hip is all in place. If we see over here, we have a nice new metal socket. We put a couple screws into the socket right here. The bone will grow into this. This is now the thigh bone component called the femoral component. This is a different X-ray. We can actually see it go down like this. And this is all held together with the tightness of the muscles. This is a display of what a hip replacement looks. This is an acrylic model. You can actually see the metal actually inside the thigh bone right here. You can see the metal cup, and we have a ball right here which holds in place. As you may remember on his initial X-ray, he was quite short, and so we've actually lengthened that. We can draw a line right through this little shadow right through here and line it up with these bones right here called the lesser trunk, and we can see that he's now quote-unquote back out to length, as we call it. He'll do some physical therapy here. He'll go home. He'll have a visiting nurse coming there, and then some outpatient physical therapy, and hopefully he'll be back doing most of his activities within 6 to 8 weeks.
I had my surgery on May the 11th. I had no pain afterwards, absolutely no pain, which surprised me. Then I had my physical therapy, and I stuck with that faithfully every day, twice a day. And friends of mine who had undergone similar surgeries told me, if you want your recovery to be successful, you have to do the exercises. And I think that has really helped me to get me into the shape that I find myself in now. I found myself walking quite soon after I had the operation, and that gave me the confidence to do some other activities. And I paid attention not to overdo it, which was easy to do for me actually. I can kayak, I can sail, I mow my lawn, I can ride my bike, I can do, for all practical purposes, I can do everything that I did about a year before the operation when I felt totally perfect. I am extraordinarily happy that I did the operation. Without it, I would have been immobile. I mean, not in a wheelchair, but I would have struggled with crutches and canes. If I were to have to advise people who have reached the level that I reached, where you can hardly walk, go do it. It's absolutely worth it. There are options to have these operations done in different places, but whenever we brought up Dr. Oliver's name, without exception, I would say, people said he's an outstanding surgeon, then I think that's an extraordinarily good sign.